we head to Southeast Asia, to Cambodia, a country with a population of around 15 million people. More than 30% of Cambodians live below the poverty line, and if they can find a job, the going rate is little more than 60 cents a day. One of the NGOs in Cambodia tackling the poverty problem is Habitat for Humanity, well known globally for providing affordable housing in poor communities around the world. Habitat Cambodia was established 10 years ago and currently operates in 8 urban areas around Phnom Penh, Cambodia's largest city. So far, 9,000 Cambodian families have been housed by Habitat with the help of volunteers from around the world, including, of course, New Zealanders. Brad Mills saw firsthand how the project actually works.
Phnom Penh is home to more than 2.2 million people, and it also has the largest number of non-governmental organisations per capita than any other city in the world. Look past the busyness and the friendly faces and you see that the signs of poverty are everywhere. Here in Phnom Penh, over 100,000 people have lost what little they did have when they were moved off land rezoned for development onto resettlement sites outside the city which have no power or water. Housing these families is a priority for Habitat Cambodia, and Country Director Bernadette Boloduthi explained how the organisation has been able to help.
Now, Habitat came into the picture because these people were being moved out, and the resettlement sites did not have the services that they need. They were given land, but there's no electricity, no water, no school, no nothing, just land. And the NGOs would provide the tents, temporary housing, transition housing. Habitat would go in when the community has stabilized, when people are willing to stay in the relocation site, because people tend to go back to the city. It's far from jobs, it's 20 kilometers from the city. The basic process that we follow when assessing how to help the poor is to look at what they could afford. So sometimes they would often want to borrow a bit, $5,000, but what they could only afford is $1,000. So what we do is we say, well, this is the kind of house that you want, but you currently afford $1,000. So maybe we could design this, and then when you finish paying the loan, you can borrow another one. So affordability is one. And the design of houses are like the ones that you see are varied, and people build them incrementally. In rural areas, it takes 10 years for them to be able to build a house. They save materials every harvest season until they are able to build a house.
And where do most of your funds and volunteers come from around the world?
In the first 2 years that I was here, it was predominantly American. Recently, it's been Australia and New Zealand. We have been getting a lot of support from New Zealand in terms of sending a lot of volunteers. In the Khmer Harvest Build, we had 150. In the Carter Work Project, we have over 50. Just recently, we had 38 strong men and women building houses with us and with home partners. Apart from that, they also have been giving us support on water and sanitation. They gave us, for 2 years, they funded us on developing a water and sanitation program in Siem Reap, near the Angkor Wat.
How can New Zealanders back home watching this, how can they get involved with what Habitat's doing here in Cambodia?
Well, Habitat Cambodia is always in need of people who have a good heart to share their time, their talent, their ideas, and also, of course, their strength, or their physical strength, physical labor, to come and build with us. We have been receiving a lot of volunteers, and we have also received some funding from Habitat New Zealand.
Every year for the past 10 years, as many as 150 volunteers at a time travel to Cambodia to be part of different projects. In 2011, one team raised enough funds to pay for the next 57 houses in the Habitat Cambodia program. During the week-long project, the volunteers not only build houses, but also relationships with the locals, and many team members choose to stay longer so that they can contribute other skills to the community. For many of these volunteers, working on the building project has been a life-changing experience.
The last 4 days, they've been amazing and life-changing, definitely, and inspiring, seeing so many different amazing people.
Absolutely amazing, we just love it. We love to serve these families in just this little way. It's amazing.
If you can do it.
take the opportunity. It's really worthwhile.
That's fantastic. Yeah. We've got 80-year-olds here, haven't we? We've got probably 17-year-olds, might be the youngest. So come at any time.
It's been pretty awesome for me, eh? No, it's been really good. It's been something like I've never experienced, really. It's probably a few more than 10, but that's all good, eh?
Oh, I mean, heaps. I like helping people. Like I said, I've been done for the rest of my life, if you know what I mean. The wider you can go, you've got to go.
Now, can I be cheeky, Bob, and ask you your age?
Age is not, remember this, age is not a crime. Age is a state of mind. I'm around about 84.
For the families who live in these houses, the benefits are many. They'll now be protected from the often unpredictable weather, and their children will be much healthier. For this lady's family, there's the added benefit of being closer to the children's school.
I love this house. There's lots of room to raise my family. I'm very thankful for Habitat to build this house for us. Before, we were located very far from my kids' school, and now it's just down the road so my kids can go to school every day.
The Cambodian families really appreciate the work done by the Habitat volunteers, and as well as the benefits of healthier households, there's also potential for increased income.
This house has provided me with many benefits. I can open my own grocery store and I can get income to support my children to go to school. I really enjoy the team who came to build my house, and it's helped me make my life better.
And Bernadette, what is your vision for the future of Habitat Humanity here in Cambodia?
Habitat for Humanity Cambodia just finished our strategic plan last January, and our ambitious dream is to serve 100,000 families in the next 5 years. That's a lot. And we only look at what's the housing need, and we said, well, look at 25% of the housing need, and let's inspire ourselves to address that. So we want to help 100,000 people more through partnerships. We will work with people, with any group who has a program or a plan on housing. We are going to work with housing finance institutions to encourage them to put more money for poor people for housing.
Thank you very much for your time. It's been a pleasure talking.
Thank you very much.
Brad Mills with that story. And so far, nearly 3,000 volunteers have helped with these building projects in Cambodia. So if you think you'd like to join one of the teams heading across there, you'll find lots of information on their website, which is www.habitat.org.nz, and click through on the Global Village link. So that website again, www.habitat.org.nz. And just by the by, one of our wonderful volunteers here at Rima Broadcasting is going on the next team trip to Cambodia at the end of this year, and she's 81. She's done these trips before and absolutely loves her time getting to know the locals.